G'day guys, my name's Chris, aka I Ride Taz, and welcome back to the carport. Last few weeks we've done some absolute epics when it comes to fabrication and development of this VL250 bobber. So today I just wanted to do a quick video about some of the small details that I've done. Some of these are just literally 2-second jobs, screwing stuff on or putting trim pieces on, just stuff that doesn't justify doing a video in its own right. And then at the end of this video, I've got a surprise and I want to install some luggage that would be error specific to the bike. So stick with me and we'll just go through a couple of little details first, guys. Guys, just before we get into this video, as per usual, I'd like to thank my sponsors, choppedandbob.com.au. Check them out on the web. Use iRideTaz10 on checkout to save yourself 10% off their cool merch. So guys, up front, I'm not running a front mudguard or a front fender, so I just grabbed a couple of lilac bandanas from eBay and I've chucked them on. I've folded them up nice and small because this is quite a small bike. If I used them at sort of normal size, they would have looked disproportionately big. So I've just folded them down to suit the size of the bike, and this is sort of classic sort of 60s, 70s, no front fender. If it's raining, just tie a bandana around the front forks. I've just used a couple of cable ties to make sure that it doesn't come off and it doesn't fall into the front wheel and cause it to lock up, wash out, bring me down. Up here on the mirrors, I've used a couple of M10 dome nuts just to clean that up, make it look a little bit neater. I've also gone around the bike and any exposed threads, like here, here, etc. I have used either M8 or M10 dome nuts. On the back, I've attached another lilac bandana just hanging off the sissy bar. I think it just looks cool, flaps in the wind, people can sort of see it. It just looks error specific and I quite like it. I've done it before. I think it really does suit what I'm going for with the bike. I did in another video quickly talk about the shocks, but I've taken the struts off and I've added shocks to the bike to lift it up a little bit. It's not so much that the struts were too hard, it's just they made the bike too low and I was bottoming out on anything and the bottom exhaust would touch down and it just was annoying to ride. I couldn't ride it particularly aggressively, and yeah, so I changed to shocks. These are Burley Slammer knockoffs. They're from eBay. I think they're about $95 the pair and they came with the inserts to size it correctly for the bike. They're actually quite comfortable. I quite like them and they look pretty good. So they, from here on in, will stay on the bike to make sure it's nice and rideable. Down in here, I've put a old leather belt to help hold the battery in. Just looks a little bit better and more error specific than using cable ties. So it's now held in with a leather belt and I think it suits the bike. I think it looks pretty cool. Down here, front and back, on the valves, I've added purple dice valve covers. I got them from eBay. I think they were $4 a pair and I think they just accentuate the look of the bike and add a little bit of colour to the rims. I have dice on a number of different bikes and I think it sort of is a great symbolism for the crap shot of life, and it's sort of very rat rod, and I thought I would extend it to this bike and I'm pretty happy with how they've come out. They look pretty good. They're quite high quality. There's the back one there. So again, just got them off eBay and yeah, really happy with how they look. Up here on the handlebars, I have used some M10 bolts, and I've cut them down to fit into where the mirrors went, and I've just painted them black. It just means that you don't have an exposed thread, and I think it just finishes the handlebars off. You can buy turned up ones on eBay, but they're often anodized aluminium, and I think they look a little bit blingy. I'm actually really happy with just using the cut down bolts. I think it suits it, and it's come up pretty well. So it's a technique that I will use again down the track. The switches on the left hand side were all silver, and they did come with some covers that are black and rubber to help make them more waterproof, so I've installed them. The momentary switch on the right hand side that I use for the ignition here again was silver, but I have given it a quick coat of paint, and I think it just blends it into the side cover a little bit better, makes it a little bit neater than what it was standard. Just again up here on the sissy bar, instead of just having these as bare threads, I've used some M6 dome nuts to finish it off, make it look a little bit neater. Always when I put bandanas on a bike, I just cable tie them just to make sure that they don't fly off and get hooked up in the wheels and cause me to wash out. There's a couple of screw holes around the bike, and I've just threaded in the stock bolts for that location just to finish it off. The rectifier here was sort of silver halo colour. Ultimately, I gave it a quick lick of paint just to help blend it into the side of the bike. Some of these bolt heads around the bike, just to accentuate them, I have painted them lilac. This bracket here, I ended up cutting and hammering down equal to the exhaust just to make it look a little bit neater and wrap around. It was just sticking up and just looked a bit sketch, so I have just fixed that. What I've bought to act as temporary luggage for this bike is a roll top duffel bag from eBay. It's pretty cool quality, and whilst it's not army surplus, it is absolutely sort of in that vein, and it's got hooks for your keys and pockets for phones and things like that. I think it's pretty much a glorified book bag, but it's got a cool fastening system on the top, like so. And I got it on eBay. It was like $39 or $49. This is the large size one. Yeah, it's in drab olive. I think it will do the job, and it will sit really nicely on the rack. So I've pulled the straps in, and I'm going to attach it just here underneath the crossbar of the sissy bar. And as much as it pains me because they're not error specific, I'm going to use some cable ties to attach it. So we'll sit it there, and we'll go through that so it doesn't fall down. We will use some side cutters to snip them off. that there. That is really actually quite firmly mounted, and it's certainly big enough to put even overnight gear in. I reckon you could actually put a small tent and your clothes in there. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that. Again, it's probably not for everyone, but I have a specific purpose in mind for it, so I think it's going to fulfill that role really nicely and be in keeping with the era of the bike that I'm going for. So yeah, that's on there firmly. For the left-hand side of the bike, which is usually the B side, the A side is always where the exhausts are and things like that. What I've bought is an M1956 or M1956 Australian issue Army surplus Vietnam era bum bag, and I plan on sort of attaching it to the top of the frame there, again to just act as a side bag for the bike, using the shock to keep it from the chain and sprocket. I have gone through just off camera and ultimately wound up the tabs and cable tied them so that they don't drag on the ground or they don't get stuck in the chain. But I plan on just using some cable ties going in up underneath this sissy bar mount and get it to mount there. These were about $19.95 online. I think it was from Mitchell's Surplus. It's pretty good. That's that's going to keep it from getting into the chain. We might just use one at the back here. Yeah, that's better. That keeps it attached to the shock mount. Like so, keeps it hanging out. Yeah, that could go down through there. Yep. Yeah, awesome. So guys, this is a roll top duffel bag from eBay in Olive Drab, which I wanted the colour specifically because this is a sort of 70s inspired bike, and so I wanted something that sort of would have been military surplus from something like the Korean War or the Vietnam War, and this ticked the boxes, and it was big enough for what I wanted, but cheap enough to suit the budget bobber build. And it's also new, so it was easily obtainable through eBay. I'm really happy with it. It's got internal pockets, it's got a mesh pocket for your wallet and your keys, and it's got a few pockets for your phone and things like that. It is easily big enough to sort of carry a day's riding gear, but it could also be used for an overnighter, and that you're probably thinking that's what I'm setting it up for, and you might be right. I'm not going to lock in anything yet because it's still super busy at work. We're just doing some renovations on the house still, so I've got a lot on my plate. But the bottom line is that would be the ultimate goal, is to take this bike on an overnighter so that I can get away and show you it out in the wild. But that may be in videos to come. It's just a little bit of a different video, guys. The last few have been absolute epics with fabrication and things like that. So I'm not feeling amazing, so I thought I'd just take it easy and just showcase some of the little details and install this on the sissy bar for maybe some upcoming adventures. Because I'm uploading twice a week at the moment, on Saturday and on Tuesday. The build videos are on Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. Australian Daylight Savings Time. But on Saturdays I'm doing point of view rides, and at the moment I'm doing a series of walk around videos on some of the builds that I've done, both on and off the channel, to highlight some of the work that I've done, guys, and they're going really well, so thank you for your support. If you want to support further, just go down to super thanks at the bottom. That's the easiest way these days, guys. But I do have buymeacoffee.com/iRideTaz, but super thanks works for me, and hopefully it works for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, ask questions. I don't really do links. I leave it up to you guys to do your own research, so I wouldn't bother asking me, can I send a link for this stuff, because you're probably not going to get one. But bottom line is that this stuff is on eBay and it's easily obtainable. There's many different sellers that will supply it for you with only a small variation in cost. Because my name's Chris, this is iRideTaz. Thanks for joining me. Until I see you next time, I am out. Have a great day, guys.